I vividly remembered visiting Chicago as a child. See, on one side of the street, there are people stepping out of Lamborghinis in designer outfits, and to me, this represented prosperity. Yet, on the exact same street, there were dozens of homeless people, shivering, begging for the next meal. I asked my parents, how is it that both of these images can coexist in a society? And they told me, that's just the way the world works. But this answer didn't sit right with me. Because if wealth were based on merit, based on drive, based on intelligence, then the gap wouldn't be this large. And so it caused me to ask a much bigger question. What actually causes wealth inequality within the United States, and what steps to be taken in order to mitigate this issue? Raise your hands. How many of you believe that success is directly attributed to determination and grit? Okay. Now, how many of you believe that success is attributed to intelligence? Okay, one last question, I promise. How many of you were actually taught how money works within high school? Exactly. Throughout the past couple of years of starting my own nonprofit focused on personal finance and literacy, starting my own mowing business, and also competing in placing third nationally in personal finance, I went on a journey towards financial freedom. Throughout this journey, I have come to a conclusion. The largest divide in America isn't intelligence. It isn't determination. In fact, it's knowledge. Now here's why this is important. According to the Urban Institute, 52% of American families struggle to cover basic necessities. Additionally, 36 million Americans live in poverty, and the top 10% of Americans bring in the majority of the income. Now let that sink in for a second. Our world is continuing to divide itself with inequality within wealth. The top 10% has the majority of all income within the United States. Now, this brings us to the idea that within school, we are taught how to analyze Shakespearean rhetoric. We write 10-page essays on societal reform. In fact, we even solve differential calculus. But we're not learning personal finance, the things that continue to bring us every day towards our future success. Now, in 2024, less than half of the United States required personal finance in order to graduate high school. And recently, the results have been terrifying. In a recent study, 2/3 of young adults couldn't answer basic questions about interest, inflation, or risk diversification. To make this more clear, imagine life as a board game. See, within these board games, there are rules, and the rules is financial literacy. So how can we expect citizens to have the opportunity to win the game of life if they don't even understand the parameters of the game that they're playing? And the answer is, we cannot expect them to win. Because if people don't know how to grow their money, how to set goals, how to budget, they don't have a chance at success. Now, within myself, I always played competitive Monopoly games. And when I had to take that unpalatable loss, at least I could go to bed, wake up the next morning, restart. But this isn't how it works in the real world. See, in the real world, you stay stuck. Debt cycles start to form, and generational poverty takes over. Today, homeownership is rapidly plummeting. 32% of Americans don't own a single stock, and U.S. consumer debt is at all-time high. Millions of Americans work every single day, but lack any equity in the system. So who is this system really benefiting? See, we know tons of people that have worked 9 to 5s their whole life, but they don't gain any equity into the economy that they prop up. And with this, their dreams also fail, and their financial freedom inevitably never occurs. It's this idea of achieving financial freedom and the wealth inequality that we've seen within the United States that makes it so hard to have to have everyone having the same equal opportunities. And so I decided not to wait. Instead, we must take personal finance from being a side topic to making it a core subject focused on education. 82% of adults wish they could have taken a personal finance course, and 95% of adults said it would have improved their future. So why are we not listening to their advice and implementing these ideas? It's clear that if we continue to focus on personal financial education within the classroom, it will benefit students and the things that they can accomplish. See, and I didn't wait. Instead, I now serve as the president of the Student Investment Philanthropic Organization, where we've raised over $250,000 and continue to give back to the community by running volunteer events, bringing speakers, and teaching personal finance. And what I've learned from this experience is that when someone learns about personal finance, it's not just that they become more knowledgeable. They don't just learn. Instead, it changes their perception of reality. See, when they have equipped literacy within personal finance, they have belief in themselves. They can achieve something bigger than themselves, and they have the opportunity to have success, something that everyone deserves. Now, I'd like to end today off with a personal story. My grandmother, she immigrated from Mexico to America with nothing, but she believes in one idea. See, every person has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That idea founded my family today. That idea is the building blocks that I stand upon and have success from. But this idea is under attack. See, nowadays, your predetermined starting points is the biggest factor in your ending points in success. This is not the American dream. This is not what America was based on. We are at an inflection point. Either we continue to innovate and push towards a better education system, or we set a world with deeper inequality, deeper instability, and deeper debt. I think throughout history, if one thing is certain, it's that nothing occurs from sitting still. Instead, you must go out and do something. I can't urge that enough. So whether you are listening to this in person or online, I urge you to call your school administrator, talk to your mayor, open your club, teach one person about personal finance. Because you want to create a chain effect that will create a bigger and better society than the way you got. And at the end of the day, everyone deserves a fair and equal opportunity at success. So I urge all of you to take intentional and dedicated actions, because change doesn't occur from sitting. So you must act upon what you want to see in the future and make it happen. Thank you.